All right, it's coming for us. Oh, hello. We're here.
Morning.
Kia ora. It loaded much faster today. Maybe
What?
it's because I will tell you, you may have noticed, that today when I turned it on, everyone, I didn't click the thing that covers the whole screen.
Oh, the calendar thing.
It's a Christmas miracle. And I'm going to quote a Disney film that you may not have seen called The Emperor's New Groove, which you
No.
should watch. It's fabulous.
all right.
I'll tell you why. They have Patrick Warburton, Wendy Malick, David Spade, and there's someone who I'm missing from this list. It's everybody from a 90s sitcom that was worthwhile, but they made a children's film that is certainly not for children. But anyway,
The Emperor's got his groove.
The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, the Emperor's New Groove. Oh.
Shockingly, after you've watched this film, or if you've already watched this film, I often get compared to Emperor Kuzco, and I don't know why. It makes no sense to me. Any hoodles. Good morning, everybody. But there's a line in the movie where they say, why does she even have that lever? Why do they even have that button? It doesn't do anything. Anyway, so many questions, so few answers. How are you?
Just groovy, and I'm as warm as
I
toast.
see that.
And
Oh.
my new car mate, which
Oh.
I am thrilled. Let me just put this down.
Yeah,
I'm a
show
bit
the
of an
people.
I'm a bit of an autumn leaf today,
You are. It's fabulous.
and it's just great. And I wore it to the knit night on Wednesday, so everybody got it, and I wore it over the top of an aubergine,
That's
not
great.
purple,
No,
dress.
apparently we can't call that purple.
But today I've styled it with some pants from summer
Yeah.
because, you know, it's supposed to get 16 or 18 here today in Christchurch. After all the rain, we've got
Oh,
sun. It's
yeah.
great. And I
Focus on the
put,
positives.
though I did go break into the merinos during the week because, God, we got to a high of 10
It-
and it was freezing.
Oh, it was miserable.
But anyway, and I bought one of my previous Carmes
Oh, yes.
just so that I can show you the finer details. I've turned it inside out so you can see
There we
that there is a facing
Oh.
on it, and that goes into
Look
the
at this surface, everyone.
the collar. So that's why it gets. I won't lie, it is a bit of a challenging knit, but it's still called for adventurous beginners because
Yes.
that's all I ever seem to be. And
Hardly.
but once you, and it's only the front that's like that. The sleeves are easy, the back's easy. It's
See?
just the front. And then I was going to say,
But the fronts are still, everybody, just knit in stockinette.
yeah, it's
So
stocking it. It's just the
There's shaping to
yeah,
track.
the shaping. So it's increase and decrease, and then you do get a straight bit because that's what's at the back. And so it's got Ethan's little
Yes.
French seam thing going on at the
We
back.
love that. We love it.
It's
So
just fabulous.
this is you're wearing your third comment.
Third one, yep,
Your third comment. You're holding the second, I believe.
Yes.
Because I actually can remember them all in order, which, like, can I just be honest? I will tell you all the truth, and I say this when people come in. I may never remember your name, but I will absolutely remember everything you've ever fucking knit
Yeah.
as long as you show me. So these are part of the Brooklyn Tweed Wool People series.
Yep.
And Wool People, for those of you who weren't around when all of this started, many moons ago,
Yeah.
many moons ago, Jared Flood used to be a photographer and a knitwear designer for a company called Universal Yarns. Universal. The construction continues. It's just amazing. It's been 2 years. I'll never get over it. The Universal Yarns started to shut down, and Jared switched over to doing pattern production and calling it Brooklyn Tweed. Eventually, they made yarn, which is what Christine's wearing. We're going to show you some of it in a second and some substitutes, but especially the pattern focused, always side of it for many, many years was focused on knit flat seamed genre pushing knits, which is exactly what Christine's wearing.
Yeah.
A classic shape that's been transformed by, you know, elevating certain details without going to Gautier-esque proportions. And it's just come out stunning.
Yeah,
Over
so-
and over again for you.
So what I love is that the collar stands up at the back, but then you let the fresh air can go in
Yeah.
the front.
Mm-hmm.
Or as I said, you know, it's a European designer. I was getting a bit of stick at work about
Ooh.
it, and I said to the guys, it's a European designer, and one of them said, oh, yes, you can tell. So,
A little bit
Now,
of
I
stick
was
from the
going
men
to
on the
ask-
factory floor.
because the back,
Yes.
I had to kitchener stitch the neck together, and I
Yes.
don't knit socks, as you all know.
Mm.
So as I was doing it for the third time, because every time I did it, I thought, oh, that'll do. And then when I realised it was going to be on the outside, everybody would see it. And I thought, no, I've got to make an effort with this. What's the difference between Kitchener stitch and grafting?
Kitchener stitch and grafting are essentially, at the end of the day, the same thing. Some people have decided to rename Kitchener stitch grafting because it refers to Lord Kitchener.
Right.
So I think it's just led to a lot of confusion, frankly, inside of the knitting industry and what's going on when we're trying to help knitters of different levels take advantage of the things that are available to them. So grafting and Kitchener stitch are the same thing, and they are making a new stitch out of a single strand of yarn and joining two other pieces that are not finished together. Now, this in theory is very simple to do because all you're doing, and the rhythm is always the same, is purlwise through the front needle, knitwise through the back needle, knitwise through the front needle, off, purlwise through the back needle, off, and repeat back and forth in those 4 steps, right? Now, here's the thing. Grafting is an art form, not just a science, and it takes a lot of practice to get it just right. And
yes,
I can be frank about a couple of things about grafting and Kitchener stitch. A, they're almost never perfect. It's just a reality. With different yarns with different characteristics, it is harder and easier to get it right. The toe of the sock is the easiest place to get Kitchener stitch right.
Right.
And the reason for that is because you, pardon my language, yank it really fucking hard. Because when you're knitting super densely, you want to pull those stitches tight when you're Kitchener stitching them. It's easier to match that tension sewing it through than it is to try to match a knitted tension that's looser, like on a 3.75 with a fingering weight or something like that. That's why with a lot of the modern patterns, like the knitting for olive ones with all the provisional cast-ons and pickups and stuff like that, you can have some unsightly bumpage until you're grafting or Kitchener stitch. And I do prefer Kitchener stitch, and here's a very short reason why. Grafting implies that you're joining two separate things together. And oftentimes what we're actually doing is joining two pieces of one whole. And if we were talking about a tree, we wouldn't refer to that as grafting. So I think calling that particular action grafting, if you are connecting two disparate parts together that have never been one, but this is one part that you're reconnecting.
You're doing the left and the right hand side.
I would still say that you're joining it with Kitchener stitch. I just think it's clearer.
Yeah, true.
And I think it's less confusing because also it's been called Kitchener stitch for like 300 years. Like, and also, again, my final note on this is I'm very loath to use Kitchener stitch. The only time I use it in my designs, if you knit my patterns, the only time that I use it is during a sewn tubular bind off, which I only ever try to do around a neck.
Right.
Apart from that, I simply avoid it. I think that you can do a lot with a 3-needle bind off.
Yes, I love a 3-needle bind off. I've done it on this.
And then I also have to say, one of my personal favorite ways to join a back collar and make it stand up is insane, but I'll give it to you in brief. You knit the collar as directed in the pattern, break the yarn on both sides, leave both pieces on a needle. What you're going to do is, on separate needles, you're going to bind off both pieces from the bottom collar edge to the interior neck edge, okay? From both of them in the same direction. It doesn't matter which way you've knit them. So break the yarn, slide the stitches over. Cast on 2 stitches and proceed to do a 2-stitch I-cord bind off. So knit 1, knit 2 together through the back loop. Do that on both sides, and then join the 2 pieces together by seaming the I-cord together, and it makes a double row of vertical stockinette stitches horizontal to the other. It provides structure and stability, and it eliminates the need to Kitchener stitch. And this is going to be coming out in my Snowden pullover and cardigan later this year that you guys will all be able to purchase.
Cool.
Because I think that Kitchener stitching is very hard. That's my opinion.
Though I have to say that the Flock Online, Ethan has got instructions on doing Kitchener stitch, and I've gone on YouTube, tried to slow it down, follow it, can't. Ethan's description and do it is the only way that I can do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, honestly, I've tried it on all the YouTube channels and everything else. It's just like, and it all clicked.
I've
so.
spent a really long time trying to get Kitchener Stitch to work for people because it's something that I find so, this is so silly to say, but I do it all the time. So I find it very effortless, but most people do really struggle with it. And I think that when we break it down more simply and we're honest that it just might not work out very well,
Yeah.
it releases people's pressure.
Yeah.
Now, before we go, I thought that I might share all of the things that I knit during Knit Fast
Buckle
I
up,
Wore
people.
this year.
This is going to be a rocky ride.
So, first and not last amongst them, this is my Sophie hood that I knit during Knit Fast I Wore. I did actually finish another shawl as well that I can't find, which is a normal problem in my life. I've also knit 2 hats, and I have given one away, and I didn't want to bring them in. So this is my Sophie hood by
it's
Petite
great.
Knits.
And everybody's knitting it at knit night, and I think I'm going to be suckered into joining the cult.
I'm just going to say, I have knit a lot of things over the years, a lot of accessories, and I have been really let down by them. I am thrilled with this. It looks great on everybody who makes it. It is very comfortable.
And you won't get hat hair with it.
You don't get hat hair with it. And just as a side note, in case you're wondering, because we now need videos on how to style things. So this is what we would call full Mother Superior. So if you're out there and you're like, I want the ease and the elegance of a wimple, but I don't want to commit to just being a nun for the rest of my life, this is how we styled a Sophie hood for maximum wimpleness. Now, being in mind that the Flying Nun came off the air far too long ago, and that if there's one thing that's due for a revival, it's that. So we wrap it around once from one side, you wrap it around once from the other side. So you've got this level, this right, there we go, round the other way. And that's it. That's how you style the Sophie hood. You put the hood on, and then you wrap the scarf around. And the best part is when you take the hood off, it just sits at the back neck, and it isn't giving you a major Quasimodo situation.
And it doesn't look like you're going to be holding up a store when you walk in and all that's missing is the mask.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no one's screaming, get out, or like, ring a bell. Anyway, if I just ruined the plot of The Hunchback of Notre Dame for you, well, it's been out for a few hundred years.
But then I liked your other styling. Go on.
Yeah, so I do have another method of wearing it as well, where I take it and I fold the hood in half.
Yeah.
So what this does is it makes a nice big block at the back of the neck. You just gently hold it together here, and you wrap around one way, wrap around the other way. I know, right? This is shocking news. Now, the other advantage of this way is with the slightly longer tails, you can actually go all the way around to the back. And then you just tuck the ends up and through.
Yeah.
And you've got this big bundle of warm fabric that produces a big wall at the back of your neck, so you don't get cold. And it can go on over a coat or under a coat.
Yeah.
So I honestly have nothing but good things to say about this. I knit this in Isager Soft. You can do this in any DK weight plus a lace weight or any worsted weight. We have more Isager Soft on the way because
everybody's bought it up, so I can't even start it. And what's the bonus? What's the size needle?
Oh, it's on a 5mm
5mm.
needle.
Oh my god, it'll just fly off.
You only need 4 balls of the Isager Soft at 1675.
And it's got an I-cord.
I-cord edge, really simple I-cord beginning and end.
So it finishes and it looks gorgeous.
It looks gorgeous at the start and the beginning. Now you use slightly more yarn increasing than decreasing, so your increased side will be approximately 4 to 8 centimeters longer until you block it. And if you block them to the same distance, they stay blocked out to the exact same distance, okay?
Yeah.
So, boom, Sophie hood. 10 out of 10 would recommend. This pattern's not available for the public yet. It's only available to the Flock online, but I did make a toile number 1. So this is a set in sleeve pullover in a yarn that we have a box on the way. Lord knows when it'll arrive.
Toile number 3, isn't it?
Toile number 3, yes.
Yeah, not number 1.
No, this is 3.
Just to
Sorry.
confuse everybody.
3, 2. And there's another 2 in there, but this is toile number 3, the set in sleeve version.
With the French
seam shoulders. That's right. Which, like, when you see the way that people who knit seamlessly top down describe how you make these shoulders happen, and then when you eventually buy this pattern and find out how you actually do it in a knit flat garment,
Your
You're-
life will be revolutionized.
You're gonna be wanting to knit flat. Then I, of course, the first thing that I finished garment-wise for this was the toile. I wanted to show it off, not wear it. So this is the toile number 2 in the incredible Acadia in maroon.
That's gorgeous.
The fabric is stunning. The fit on this
Could
came
be
out
aubergine
beautifully.
or damson plum.
Yeah, aubergine, damson
It's
plum.
not purple.
No, God forbid. And if you call it deep purple, people just start playing Smoke on the Water. Anyway, there's a cut for those of you who were alive before the year of our Lord 1995. So silk, alpaca, wool, you can't beat it. I was thrilled with making this. This is the fluff version, which was done long before we started this journey. And then last, and certainly not least,
No.
last week's reveal and this week's
Yeah.
yeah. The Circles and Stripes Pullover by Mariana Isager from Tokyo to Worsted Knitting Life number 3. I think this might be my favorite thing that I've knit in many, many years. It's a complete departure from anything else I've ever made.
Very much so.
Yeah. It is busy. It is stripes and dots and multiple colors and many different yarns all at once. And you think to yourself that it might be a mess, but when you finish it and when you're making it, it's gorgeous. And I hope on camera this is showing up for you guys the way that it is in person. I knit this flat. I'm very happy with how it's come out. I was going to make some modifications to the neckline, but I've decided that upon review,
Reflection.
if you can't, to quote Stephen B., and if you're unaware of Stephen B., he's one of the original gay wind chimes of knitting. He is an amazing person, and a lot of what he says is true. If you can't see it galloping by on a horse, who cares? And honestly, literally, you can't see the thing that I'm complaining about inside. And I realize that I'm just being silly. And there are sublime details on this that you will love. So I hope that all of you have been inspired by everything that you're seeing around you this year. Knit Fast Dye Warm with the 2-month extension. I will say, Christine, you were right about the knit along, and you were right about the extra time. We have seen some people without projects that I never would have considered possible.
And they wouldn't have done it in 4 weeks, and definitely not in 5.
No, and a 10 out of 10, especially to all of our new knitters who jumped in. I would like to give a special shout out here on camera to our amazing knit Amy from Knit Night. She is a new knitter, and she, I'm just gonna tell everybody now, she's gonna win the seamless category. I love all of you, but none of you have done what she has done. She knit an entire lace and colorwork, fingering weight jumper from the top down in less than 2 months as her
second garment ever. And it's absolutely stunning.
Stunning. She knit light academia, if you're looking to look at what she made, so you understand why she is absolutely winning. And I am so thrilled to see how this has brought the very best out of everybody this year in their knitting, and I'm so grateful to all of you and to you for participating. It's been a blast, actually, as opposed to the usual slog that I find this. And I can be honest about it.
Now, what I was going to say about your circles one is that Ethan, like me, goes off-piste when you're supposed to be using the yarn specified, except I did use the yarn specified for this and I'm thrilled, is that if colours scare you, try textures. Use the same colour range, but use different yarns. And boy, your world's your oyster in this shop with textures.
It really is.
It really is. And I was thinking about that because, you get your best thoughts in the shower, don't you? And I thought, well, if colour scares you and you're not sure about colour, but you know that you like a certain colour range, try different textures instead, which is what you did because you used the Issachar tweed.
I did.
Which was not specified in the pattern.
The tweed was specified in the pattern, but you were supposed to hold it with alpaca 1 in a coordinating shade. And we actually had the alpaca 1, but I really wanted different colors and a bigger impact, and so I thought the silk mohair is really luminous. So I went with it and I played with the texture of the pattern, and I think this is a very muted color palette actually. But the texture, especially in person, adds an extra layer of interest because the dots are matte in person, and the rest of it is shiny.
It's not shiny, but
it has that silk and mohair quote unquote glow that we all talk about, and you can see that on Christine's as well.
On my gooseberry, I'm on the last sleeve, people. My God, the last sleeve. Everybody goes, oh,
Look at
really,
me go.
last sleeve? Well, considering I knitted 3 sleeves for this because I made a mistake, I can't make a mistake because I had to pick up the stitches and go for it. So because, again, this is make up the rows as you go, but your last sleeve has to match your first sleeve, so it's whizzing off the needles, the last sleeve, because I don't have to think. I'm just copying what was on the other sleeve.
Oh, there you
So
go.
I'm good to go.
Boom. Well, I've started on a high street cardigan sample because I needed an example of 1x1 ribbing. And I really need to release this pattern, and I keep knitting the samples in it and then wearing it until they're a little bit past photography. So we're working on that. Working on that, and I'm just knitting away in some amble at the moment from the fiber company.
Oh, okay.
In the color Isol. Now, I'm not normally an alpaca-containing yarn for garments person, but I was really impressed by the amble in socks. I made myself a pair of socks in the Wast Water colorway. The hot tip, if you have hand knit socks and you regularly machine wash them and then hang them out to dry, which I do, you know how sometimes in Christchurch it rains unexpectedly because we're not great at weather prediction, and then you end up having to run a load a second time in the washing machine? Take your hand knit socks out. They will felt even if they're machine washable. Just as a side note, I did this to my amble socks. I did it 3 times. I washed the same wash 3 times to get it out of the washing machine. Hashtag Christchurch Life. And it will ruin your hand knit socks. No matter how machine washable something is, nothing's that machine washable.
See, Diane Knit Night, all their
Yes.
family wears the knit socks.
Yes.
And so she just does a special wash with that. See, if I knitted socks, they would be so precious that they would be hand washed,
Yeah.
soaked, laid
Used
out.
once
all the rest
a
of it.
year,
Yeah. Well, no,
taken
you'd
out of
use
a
it, but they would be,
special box.
yes,
Yeah.
be hand washing and being so careful with them. But if you make a lot, you've got to get over that.
You
And
really do in
could you put it in a laundry bag?
You can put it in a laundry bag, but
And then
it's
you
the
can find them.
Yeah, and yank them out before you rewash. It's the rewashing and the fact that they never dried between. That's what caused the problem,
Oh,
quite
right.
frankly. So, top tip from Ethan: if you have if you have your hand knit socks, Christine's right. Throw them into a washing bag. Combine our 2 ideas and just yank them out. Or if you're
if it's going through again.
yeah.
And then, or you can't be bothered. Some people go, who hand washes? Well, Christine still does with some
I do
things.
some hand washing still.
Yeah, but you can just chuck it in that and that. I mean, I have been known to
On the
hand
wall.
wash
Oh.
a jersey and then put it in a pillowcase and put it through the spin because I thought, I'm not going to roll it up and soak it and do all the rest of it. It's just like, shove it
No,
in.
I'm a burrito wearer still to this day.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do
Yeah.
that when I first wash the garment,
Okay.
when I'm blocking the pieces.
Right.
But after that, it's sort of like, really, have I got time for this? And because suddenly, when you're doing pieces, you've got 4 bits. Suddenly, you've got a whole garment. I don't know. I'm just bow down in awe of you that knit in the round and then have to hand wash or wash your jerseys. So I don't know how you get the water out. But anyway,
If I can be honest, my hot tip, everybody, is to knit enough jumpers that you don't have to
wash them. Yeah, but then occasionally you do. So that's cool. Right.
Anyway, so the other thing that I have been made aware of this morning by Christine, thank God, is next weekend is Mother's Day.
Now, if you are into Mother's Day, not
Yes.
everybody, I have to say I've really appreciated a lot of the places
Yes,
that I get
a lot
5
of
million
thoughtful
emails say,
brands.
do you wish to opt out of just the Mother's Day? And so you can take that option. But for those of you who do participate in
Yes,
Mother's
for those
Day,
of you who do participate in Mother's Day, please stay with us till the end because we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff about mothers. Mothers are mothers of all shapes and sizes, to be clear, everybody, are a very large part of what I do for my professional work. Now, many people, I'm realizing over time, are confused about what I actually do. So let's take a brief moment to explain what Ethan actually does. I own this yarn store, but I don't operate this yarn store. That's not my job. I am more of a creative director around what we stock here in the shop and how all those things happen. And I am a great resource for my retail employees and many, many other things. but the actual day-to-day of what goes on here is not what I do. I run an online subscription community that Christine is a part of called The Flock Online, which is a big part of what I do, and I'm growing more into that over time. If you're looking for help learning more about knitting, teaching yourself more about knitting, and growing with a community of people who are there to talk about knitting and there to support you through your goals, please come join us. I have revamped our offerings significantly, and I'm proud to announce that our new weekly offerings are going to be a podcast review, because if there's one thing you can do while knitting, it is listen to a podcast, and there are so many out there, and finding the good ones is hard.
It is.
I have great news. I've done the work for you, and starting this week coming, we are going to have a weekly podcast review to help you find those truly great ones to listen to, and we're going to alternate between documentary and true crime. So it's not just a straight true crime situation. There's going to be lots of other podcasting content out there for you to learn about if you join us. I'm also going to be offering different knitting lifestyle tips, which might be from which moisturizers aren't going to cause problems with your knittings to how to select the right knitting case. It's about transforming our knitting from just something that we're doing into a joyful celebration of our life.
Knitting's a lifestyle, isn't it?
Knitting is a lifestyle, and darlings, I'm turning
crocheting.
Or crochet. Yeah, we are going to be expanding our crocheting and spinning offerings over the next 2 years. We also are going to be giving a monthly pattern designed by me, either an accessory or a garment. And then I've shifted away from doing a standard review of patterns and other things. And I'm going to be instead doing more project journals, where I talk to you about the process of making things and how you might want to modify it so that it's more contextual and helpful for your making. Because I think over time we have all sat and watched a lot of great content podcasts where people make garments, but what they're doing in the modifications they're making aren't super helpful to contextualize for yourselves at home. So I'm going to try to talk through my projects now about how you make changes in the gross nature of the pattern, gross meaning overall, so that you get the best outcomes for yourself, and what changes I made to the pattern so that you can compare and contrast against, well, this structure, which I think we can all agree is only getting bigger. Now, that's what's going on the Flock Online. We also have a monthly seminar, a monthly knit night, and a chance to get together and have a chat back on a more regular basis, which is all coming to fruition now. Our big thing, my big goal as well, and my most important job, believe it or not, is running our 2 knitting groups here on Saturday from 10 till 4 every single week, and on Wednesday from 6 till 8 every single week, of which everyone is always welcome to come join us. If we run out of chairs, we will figure it out, don't worry. The biggest part of what I do, and why I want to stop and talk about this before we talk about Mother's Day, is that's what I actually do. These knitting groups, in traveling and teaching and running the online community so people have better access to better information to make better choices about their knitting on their terms, that is unbiased as much as possible, is my overall goal. Because we are all spending too much time at home alone, and I want to keep stressing this, and I want to keep telling you all that it's happening, and I want to remind all of you that you need to go out and you need to be with people, and that if you are sitting at home lonely right now and you are watching this and you are worried or something is going on in your life, or you just need to talk, please go to your local knitting group. Please come to our local knitting group. Please join the Flock Online. Please do something. I don't care what it is, but my goal here is to remind all of us that life is better together. And my job is to make sure that all of you have places to go and people to be with so that your life improves. And knitting is not about the stuff that we make. It is about the stories that we tell together while we are doing the making, okay? And my main job and role, and the main job and role of every single person out there who owns a yarn store, is a knitwear designer, runs a knitting group, has a yarn company, should be the connection between the people that we have. And I am blessed and lucky to do this. And I just want to be very clear with all of you. If it seems some days like I don't know what's going on with an order, or I'm not sure what's happening with this or that, it's because that's not my job. My job is all of you. And I promise I'm working very, very hard to make things better, okay? So,
and if you come here on a Saturday, you can get solicited or unsolicited advice.
Yes, from the fantastic community.
The flockers that are here.
Yeah, come and join the flock, because we are desperate to have you, because we don't know you yet. and we know that we're gonna love you.
Yeah.
And just a reminder that like we all need each other. We are not in isolation. We are not creatures crafted in glass jars set on shelves in ways that we cannot touch one another. We are living, breathing organisms that require community. We are hardwired for connection. And the more that we do things together and the more that we focus on each other, you will find that your life gets better. Every single person who joins our knitting group, life gets better. And every time someone new comes and joins us, our lives get better too.
And don't worry, if you're a shy little person,
Yeah.
you can just sit in a chair.
Exactly.
And all you have to do is introduce yourself, say what you're knitting, and that's it. And then you can just soak in what the rest of us are yabbering on about, which can be anything about knitting or life in general,
Yeah.
or our frustrations with traffic. It seems to be a constant
It's
thread.
a constant thread. But the good news is that we're here to do it together. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to remind all of you every single week from now until the end of time that life is better together. Okay? So, great news. One of the things that starts life, and one of the great gifts that I have in this world, is to witness the miracle and wonder that is womanhood. And I am extremely blessed and lucky to have a group of women around me who represent the incredible multiplicity of womanhood and motherhood in the various ways in which we can be a mother. Not all mothers gave birth. Not all mothers have children. There are 1,001 ways that you can nurture and add to our community and to our lives. And there is a incredible gift that women who bear children give to the world as they let a part of themselves walk around free to bless the rest of us for the rest of our lives.
True.
And I am very excited to celebrate womanhood and motherhood in one big whole this year because it doesn't have to be two separate things. And if you haven't done one, doesn't mean the other isn't just as important. So celebrating womanhood and motherhood this weekend and celebrating the crafts that have become thankfully aligned with this.
Yeah, it's mindfulness, people.
It is mindfulness. So
when people go, "Are you knitting?" and I go, "It's the new mindfulness. Get over it."
But being connected to the things that we wear and the places that we go and the actual things that we make and love is something that's going to help all of us again feel so much better inside. So I have to admit, one of the things that if I was a mother, and I'm not for a lot of good reasons, if I was a mother and I was going to be receiving a gift, this particular thing, I have to say, I would like a redesigned Project 14 needle case. And here's the reason why. I'm experimenting with some ChiaoGoo needles, and the other thing that I would actually want is both a set of ChiaoGoo and a set of Mindful needles for very different reasons. So this is my second project now on these ChiaoGoo needles.
As he's racing to the end of the road.
Yeah, and I like them. I don't love them, and I don't, it turns out, super love my Mindful needles. I have comments about both of them, but situationally, having two different sets of metal needles that behave slightly differently is actually quite nice, especially if your hands are getting tired, or if you're switching between different projects, if you need a blunter tip or a pointier tip, having both the Mindful or the Zings and the ChiaoGoos as two metal options is really helpful. With yarns that aren't going to split as much, and with the yarns where you're holding a silk mohair alongside, I will admit the ChiaoGoo needles do move along more smoothly. With yarns held single, I'm definitely overall, and if they're semi-splitty yarns like this particular construction, I do tend to prefer the Mindful needles. Now the thing is, I hate the cases now that both the Mindfuls and the ChiaoGoos come in.
Right.
So if you buy a ChiaoGoo set, it does come in a really decorative, lovely case that has so many things that should be positive about it. Except, there's nowhere except for this one external pocket to store all of the little bits. And the ChiaoGoo needles do need a couple of extra bits in order to work. The cables do not have a set storage space on the interior of your thing. So you're either stuck getting a separate bag that you wedge in there.
And hope it doesn't fall out.
Yes, or shoving it into this one, making this pouch super full, and I'm already finding it hard to navigate personally. Now, I would get myself another Project 14, and I already have another one on the way, and we have some here in store still, and we have another needle case as well. So if you're somebody who has more than one set of interchangeables, just making sure I'm saying the right number, I do think that this Project 14, the large needle case, is the single best thing that I have bought for my knitting. I have two of them, one for my wooden needles and one for my metal needles. And I've just ordered myself a third in a different color to hold my ChiaoGoos versus my Mindfuls. So my Mindfuls, both my shorts and my longs, and all of my other additional Mindful needles. So there's a space in here for your fixed circulars. For
Or your
all
cables.
of your, no, well, there's two. So there's a space for all of your fixed circulars and then all of your cables, and then there's two full flap sets
Oh, wow.
to hold all of your interchangeable tips. And there's also a spot to hold
your needles.
tapestry needles, and there's two pockets in here, and I have
And a slot
and there's
thing.
and that slot thing repeats somewhere
Oh.
else. Yeah, there and there.
Oh, right.
So there's
Lots
just,
of places to lose stuff.
well, lots of places to have everything you need in one
Yeah,
kit.
true.
Honestly, you can fit scissors and needle gauges and all of your end caps and tightening tools. Everything goes in here. This makes such. I'm almost embarrassed to admit how much of a difference. Over the years, I've seen so many ways of organizing needles. Fixed ones we used to do. Oh my God, is that time right? Fixed ones we used to do with a little clip, and you try to like clip them and hang them, or you put them in plastic bags or in all these things. It was a nightmare. Needle case is definitely top drawer
Yeah.
choice for Mother's Day. You can't go wrong. We do have a second form factor needle case available for people who do not have as many tips. So if you're somebody who doesn't knit on such a wide variety of sizes, you're not doing stuff in the round, you're probably only going to need one set of tips in each size. In this needle case, which is the Project 34, is the one that I would recommend for people who only have one set of interchangeable tips. It comes with a beautiful giant section at the bottom, all subdivided to put all your needle tips, and unlike all the other versions of this that I've ever seen, a large 3-portion pocket across the top that's internally subdivided.
Oh, right.
So one for your cables, one for your bits, like your stoppers and stuff, and one for your needle sizer and scissors, etc. So this is a great option for those who are looking for something more compact and who might not need as much storage as is offered in the 14. There are also, I think it's the Project 13, that's for fixed needles, so that is something. Mother's Day is coming, and if there's one thing that I have learned over the years, like these cases, it is very hard to talk a lot of people into treating themselves to necessities. A needle case to hold all of your tools so you don't lose them is a necessity. If you were doing carpentry, you would have a toolbox for all of your
Or a
chisels,
tool belt.
and then we would have a lot of questions while you're watching this knitting podcast. But the other thing that really does help is having the specialty sets to go into your tools and stuff. And the specialty sets are a little bit harder, I think, to justify to purchase yourself rather than the standard sets or any sets. We have a beautiful interchangeable crochet set here called Oasis. It's a great option. It comes with everything you need. The interchangeable crochet sets are a game changer because it allows crocheters to have the same portability as knitters, which has never happened before because crocheters, it's always like, now get out the 17th hook from your collection of random hooks. We also have these beautiful mini
yeah.
lengths, and people who knit a lot of sleeves or knit socks or other things and are looking for all the sizes, these are the Knit Pro options. You can also use them as the short tip on one side of a situation if you're knitting sleeves, and they just offer you a lot of different options. So the bouquet comes with, where are we? 8 sizes of interchangeables. So does this one, 8 sizes of interchangeables. The denim is wood and the bouquet is a metal mini set. So they've got the short little tips, which is new out actually for Mother's Day, from our good friends there. Also, on the sets thing, Christine and I are not avid sock knitters. I knit a sock now and then. Christine doesn't knit them at all. But everybody at Knit Night is mad for the Twist Shorties set. This little red set comes out all the time. It's probably the best value in short circumference knitting that exists. It offers a great size range and is the perfect set for doing any sort of sock. So this is from 0 to 3, a 2 millimeter to a 3.25 millimeter, yeah, be still, to a 3.25 millimeter needle. The other thing to consider, I love these. This is a Mindy sleeve. This color is Dahlia. The Mindy sleeve is a product that comes from Lantern Moon, and it's just big enough to hold 2 or 3 needle tips and all the little tools that you need. It's great if you're going on like a trip and you're making something like Kame or something like one of my patterns where you need 3 different size needle tips. This is a great option for just taking the essentials that you need, especially if you're knitting flat, so you only need one 60 centimeter cable for the whole project, right, Christine?
That's right.
Sorry, guys.
The bonus of knit flat.
Because Mother's Day was coming, we also are going to be changing over our Walk Collection selection. So, Walk Collection selection. That rhymes unintentionally. We have some beautiful
Look
wall
at those
collection
colours.
yarns. Yeah, we crowdsourced this color palette from our Knit Night attendees, and all of these beauties are on sale, 30% off. So I think they're down from 49 to 35, all on the website and in store right now. Can you tell I used to play sports? Oh, thank God I didn't put that elbow out that fast.
Look at this one. It's got the gorgeous browns, which would
Yeah.
just go fabulous with that.
The whole set is completely interchangeable together. We did a really beautiful job ordering it, in my opinion. I hope you guys get into it. We are changing every time that we reorder from Walk Collection. They have 70-ish bases, I think. We're gonna try to bring in a different base. So we're moving this over because we have an order coming hopefully early June. And we just want to make sure that we've got the physical space for it.
360 metres, 100% merino.
100% merino, great for shawls, great for jumpers,
Yeah.
all sorts of uses, single ply, all of that. Last and not least, we do want to remind you that we have a couple colors of Brooklyn Tweed Loft left,
Which is what this is knitted in.
which is what that's knitted in and is one of my two favorite yarns of all time. Oh, hello from Chattanooga, Tennessee, home of world champion Olympic weightlifter Olivia Reeves in the 71 kilo class. She
Wow.
snatched 123 kilos the other day.
Pub quiz attendee.
Yeah. Oh, I am, just as a side note, I am deadly at a pub quiz. Except for some sports trivia, like, oh God, when people are like, who won the World Series and blah, blah, blah.
Right, come on,
Just
quick.
always say the Knicks. Anyway, last and not least, these are the colors of loft that we have available. Nest, camper, blanket fort, and flannel. There's not a bad choice among them.
No.
You could be like
Yeah.
Christine and knit up Kame. You could stash these for our upcoming crosshatch knit along and try to find yourself some shelter. But most importantly, please, 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 if you haven't tried loft, there is more than one way to say goodbye to things. And I think that we should say goodbye with a big boom. I'm not this fan of these people who are all sad and wham when things go away. You know what? Everything is fleeting. Nothing is permanent. Use the good wine, wear the good shoes, and goddamn knit with the good yarn. So
And the good needles.
exactly. So don't stash. Please buy this and knit something immediately. One skein of loft is more than enough to finish any fingering weight hat except for the cursed musselburgh. Yeah, I don't like it. And I'm sticking by it. And I really think that once you knit with it once, you'll understand what I've raved about for years. There will be more yarn that we love, but celebrating the beautiful things that have existed is super important. And I think Christine
Yeah.
can tell you after using it once, it might be the best yarn that's ever been made. And
Fabulous.
it's sometimes just time to say goodbye.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go because we're well over time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
That's quite all right.
And I hope all of you guys have enjoyed Knit Fast Die Warm. Please get your submissions in. You have until midnight tomorrow night. It doesn't need to be fully finished. We're pretty flexible on it.
Yep.
And I hope all of you have had a great time knitting along. Now, we do have a new knit along coming up in June. Don't startle. You've got time. And I'm going to have to do some consulting because I'm going to have to find a second pattern to go along with crosshatch because I don't think I'm talking this one into brioche. So,
Wait till you see what I'm knitting next.
Ooh!
Whoa. Just a little, palette cleanser.
Excellent, excellent.